Hello, welcome back to PlayStation Access. My name's Dave, and I'm joined today by Nath.
Hello.
And I was very lucky to go to Amsterdam, to Gorilla's office, to play Horizon Zero Dawn.
I know, yeah. Sorry, I'm confused. I mean, I know what this video is, but I'm just watching. I've not seen this.
Yeah, I know. It's really exciting. This video specifically is 7 things you must do in Horizon Zero Dawn.
I will.
I probably could have done a lot more.
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about. We played about the first 2 hours of the game.
Right.
Then they put us ahead, and this is sort
looks great.
The 7th mission of the game. It looks absolutely incredible.
Do you know, just the night, I say, you should start the first thing. I've seen the white flash.
That's okay. Well, the first thing is explore, which probably sounds like an obvious one, but I'm going to try and explain why it's important to explore. First of all, this is a little look at the map. Actually, just this is a zoomed in. It's really nice, isn't it? When you're further out, you don't fully appreciate how much detail there is. But this is zoomed in. This is Holly having a little scout around. This is actually the first area that she's got unlocked here. I'll cut to like a zoomed out version of the entire map.
Oh wow!
So you can see it's much bigger than that. Obviously, it doesn't mean a lot now because you haven't seen the gameplay.
I like that old kind of fantasy thing of this is simply obscured by clouds.
Yeah, exactly. Just lovely clouds. They actually described it as a fog of war, but I think that's more of just a term rather than there being particularly loads of war going on. We played in this first area that's already bottom, revealed, and then basically where that yellow road, that yellow sort of track goes to. First thing about exploring is just the joy of it. So they've built an amazing, beautiful open world. You can see just came to a spot.
This looks really good.
I thought I quite want to go to the top of that rocky outcrop and have a look around.
Right.
And so I did, because Aloy is incredibly athletic, which is useful in combat. It's useful in just traversal. And have a look at this, Nath. I came up here, I thought, look, that's where I used to be. That's interesting, isn't it?
Do you know
That's interesting. What the hell is that, Nath?
Okay.
What is that?
That is good.
Coming over a mountain.
I was just looking at the view in the mist. It reminds me of being in Skellige, obviously, because almost everything with sun sets in does.
Yeah.
I've just been playing The Witcher. And, forever, I mean. And this is basically what I do in The Witcher. Obviously, get to the top of a hill and look at... And this is... I had no sense. I've only seen the trailers that everyone else has seen. I'm thrilled by the weather. Just the different... I have not really seen nighttime, different colour palettes.
There's so much to see in Horizon. There's quite a few different kind of environments they've built, like weather systems and things. I absolutely love
pylon!
The meeting of worlds. I put this in especially for you because I knew that you'd like pylons.
Wow, close up!
This is a post-apocalyptic world, which is hard to say. I think it's 1,000 years since the apocalypse. We don't know at the start of the game what the apocalypse, what form it took, what happened here. And there's something so interesting about exploring this world and seeing the past, which is sort of contemporary to us, because it's so mysterious. And Aloy doesn't know what happened here. She refers to the people who lived at this time as the old ones.
That's us.
So I guess it would be us. We're the old ones. And seeing remnants of things that there was like a water tower there that I wanted to explore. Seeing remnants of things that you understand, or we understand, but in this kind of context, and not knowing what's happened is incredibly mysterious. I
just think as well, like that look of the ruined now. And we've seen different ages of it. Like The Last of Us did a version of it, and the Naughty Dog team talked about how they researched how quickly nature would reclaim stuff. This is obviously like a much further in the future, and it gives it a slightly different angle.
Look, I found a cave.
Yeah?
I just found a cave. I was wandering around. I found a cave. I thought, what's in the cave? And what turned out to be in the cave is...
Is this a facility?
A side quest, a facility, and some sort of futuristic armor.
What?
And I love this. I love the meeting of worlds because the game is set in
it's in the past future.
It's bows and arrows, but then there's also robots. Primitive meets technological. This brings me on to point number 2 of what you must do, and that is use focus mode, which is what I'm doing here. So at the start of the game, you find a small kind of gadget which Aloy is wearing, and it gives you focus mode.
Is that the light ring there?
Yeah, the light ring, and that's sort of AR. It's not really there. Only Aloy can see it.
Okay.
And she doesn't really know.
So that's kind of projecting the images that we can then see. I can literally see the beam. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like a tiny cinema on the side of her head.
But when she's using it, no one else can see it. They don't understand it. She doesn't really understand it. She doesn't know much about it. She just found it. Right. But she's starting to use it, and it's
Is it
really
recreating
key.
the past?
It's not recreating the past. It's just highlighting. Here it's highlighting how things are connected together, and that's for like puzzle solving. So to get to that armor, you need to solve a puzzle basically, find certain components and unlock certain things. Here it is giving us a window into the past. So this is a vantage point, I think it's called, which is dotted around.
Toblerone City.
You get a little audio playback, and it's about telling you, what happened in the past. It's about piecing together what's happened to the world. I love this.
That's a really nice way to drop in that kind of audio log style.
It
info,
is,
isn't it?
And what's great about it is, this is. It's going over the top of what is left. So when you come out of this vantage point, you can see the remnants of the building there.
Nice.
And you can go and explore that building. I went there. It is used for getting information about your enemies. So here, sort of scanning creatures that I found. There's a turkey, but a corrupted scrapper. So there are different kinds of robot creatures.
Is it true that if you learn more about them, that they're then you can strategize?
Yes, so there's loads. It's really, really deep, actually, the strategy in this. Here's something here. So there's a watcher walking around. You can highlight its path. So it's on a set path, which you can then highlight so you can adjust for, your tactics to match it.
I like that because they're robots, so that kind of makes more sense than guards just pacing around in certain places, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. Although
the humans also do that.
Yeah.
Video games.
You can see, it highlights things.
Are there bad
important
humans?
things.
I
There are
didn't
bad
know that.
humans, yeah.
Different tribes.
There are good humans, different tribes. So it's useful for all of that, which brings me on nicely to experimenting with combat. So
This is number 3.
This is number 3. Combat is deep and really, really fun. Here's a look at just a weapons merchant, the different weapons that are available. There's a sling which fires elemental sort of bombs.
Okay.
There's a rope caster which fires ropes that can wrap around legs, like basically pin an enemy down.
Yep.
There's a trip caster which is used for setting up trip wires.
I've seen those traps, yeah.
Then there's your bow, which actually has different forms. So there's a war bow, for instance, which doesn't do a lot of damage, but is great for firing elemental arrows at things. So you can take them down and then get up close. Or there's like a sharp shot bow, which you saw there, which is used for taking off,
Heads.
specific components of people or robots.
Right, okay.
So there's lots of choices to be made with regards to the combat, which I'm going to try and explain. So starting with the bow. As I said, you can take down specific components of enemies. The bow is obviously silent and a ranged weapon.
Yeah.
If you use focus mode on enemies, it highlights their weak spots and their strengths, so you can see where's a good place to shoot.
Stick and stuff, yeah.
You saw Holly just took off a piece of the armor there from the Watcher. Bows, or more specifically arrows, also really good at people. Just a nice headshot there. And Holly's got a skill here called concentration, which allows her to have like a slightly slowed down period of time.
This over the shoulder. But the over the shoulder shots and all the grass is still I'm still quite astonished at how good the game looks.
The foliage in particular, particularly the sort of long grass, which you spend a lot of time in, is just fantastic. It feels really lush and like it's there.
That looks like Starbucks horse. Is it Starbucks? You know that? Anyway,
I don't know.
It's an old cartoon.
When the bow fails you, you've still got your good old spear. So you always have a spear handy. You can't unequip your spear. It's got you can use it for stealth kills like this. So highlighted the route that Watcher was going to take.
Right.
Waited in the long grass.
Oh man, the grass. Yeah.
I know. Look at that sliding into the long grass. You have a light and a heavy attack. And you can upgrade all those skills for certain purposes, like the light attack can be upgraded to take off specific bits of armour. We're going to move on to the trip caster now, which I really enjoyed. And I believe you can use this with different elements. So I just used it with shock.
Right.
So great for a lot of robots, although some are, weaker with shock than others. These
Did you know this one was coming because you plotted his path, or
no? So I actually lured this one, which is another skill that I leveled up. You also can throw a rock, but a lure is a skill. You can see at the bottom left, I had it on the D-pad, down on the D-pad. So it comes over, it gets zapped. You can see it's got that blue period of shock, which is sort of counting down. I'm just going to town on my with my
melee weapon
with my spear. There's these are actually corrupted robots, and probably I shouldn't have been taking them out, but I had a good experiment with the tripcaster, and it's really, really powerful, but it is quite slow to use, because you have to fire it twice, obviously, to set both ends of the tripwire, but then it does give you a big period to attack.
So it's not something you're going to do reactively, probably.
I think people will try and like I tried. I think when you get better with the game and maybe unlock some more skills, here I was trying to do it like really quickly, did manage to get it used,
okay.
but then I went in a bit sort of like, Dark Souls syndrome, like I've almost got him, and his mate came along and just killed me.
I was going to ask actually, if I have time, just quickly, what does the melee combat feel like?
Oh, it's really, really fun. It feels fast. It feels, you've obviously got the choice of the light and the heavy. This is the rope caster, by the way, which I didn't use. This is Holly using it, and you can just see it just pins things to things.
Right.
Yeah, and you also have a dodge, like a roll.
Okay.
So, as I said, Aloy is really, really mobile. She's really agile. And using that stuff is just really fun. She feels like really fun to control. This is using the sling. So here I'm going to combine a few things in an environmental kill that I think you're going to love. And this also points out how you have to learn about the different behaviours of the different creatures. So these ones startle easily.
Yeah.
Look at this, Nate.
Nice.
It's
Ewoks.
Like
Return of the Jedi.
It's exactly like Endor. I used log piles.
Oh man, you messed
to take
them up.
out a bunch of those
innocent robots.
I think they were grazers. But yeah, each of the robots sort of kinds has very different kind of behaviours, and some will startle and things like that. You need to know about this kind of stuff. We're moving on now to scavenging and crafting, which is something else you'll have to do.
So so you could, for example, have picked all of the bits off those bodies.
Yeah, well, and this is where it gets even deeper. So here is sort of like the page of information you get for the Strider once you've used focus mode on it.
Okay.
You can see it's got its components are body and blaze canister. Now, a blaze canister, I could shoot that off with an arrow, and I can get blaze, which I can use to make fire arrows, for example.
Right.
Or I could use a fire arrow to shoot the blaze canister and make it explode.
Right.
So you can see you start having to make these choices about
what you want to get off the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Do I need that, or do I want to use that against itself? Here again, there's my little
There's the turkey.
Bit of fun with the turkey. The scrapper, you can see it. Different weaknesses and strengths are coming up on different parts of the body, and this has a power cell component on the back, which again you can shoot out, and then you get a sparker, which I think is used for making shock elemental weapons. You could shoot out the radar, which gets rid of its scanning ability. So there's a lot. There's a lot to think about, but at the same time, you can just go in guns blazing, and I know that a lot of people I was playing with were doing that. When you take people out and robots out, there's loot to be had from them. So there's bits that you can use for crafting. There's also other stuff, and you can see that loot is color coded from other games you might recognize. So there's green, green, blue, and purple that I saw. There may be an even specialer kind. I don't know. Maybe I'd like to think so. So you can use things that you scavenge from enemies to craft other things. You can see here just crafting traps, crafting sort of additional space in your satchels. Okay. For example, think a little bit Far Cry.
Yeah.
You can also use it to get a currency. You can also craft a fast travel pack. So fast travel isn't just always available.
Right, okay.
It's a resource that you have to craft
quite like
and
that.
use. I like it, and to be honest, I had so much fun getting around in Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't think you'll be using it that often anyway. Next up, the next thing you have to do, the fifth thing, is override enemies.
What? That doesn't look like you're about to override that horse, Dave.
So this was like, as I said, this is one of the first things we did once they put us further into the game. So I don't know how Aloy gets this ability, because she didn't have it at the start of the game. And we were encouraged to just experiment and override creatures, as many creatures as we could.
Do you know, I was literally just about to ask, obviously because of The Witcher, whether you could ride a horse.
Well, you can't, but you can ride this creature, which is kind of like a robot horse.
Yeah.
You can also there, and I didn't even experiment with this when I played, use its melee ability with R1, which is kind of cool.
And then how long can you override
this is your friend now, and you can see actually in the bottom left, I've got on the D-pad now the ability to call my mount. So once you've overridden one, that is yours to keep. I guess if it gets destroyed or something, you just have to override
Get a
another
new one, yeah.
And I believe many, if not all, of the robots in the game can be overridden, but not. You know, you don't just instantly have this power. You have to learn about them before you can do it.
Okay.
This was me overriding a Watcher, which is a very low-level kind of creature that just basically alerts other creatures if it spots you. And I think it just went off and made itself a nuisance. So this one couldn't be ridden, but it went off and it started attacking things.
That's cool.
And now, this is number 6, which is related to overriding. I was just walking around and I suddenly got this, you know, that I was this bit of information. I was getting this unknown signal, and I saw it moving. And in the distance, I thought this was so cool. Seeing a tool neck for the first time, it's right there in the distance.
Like the Enterprise was flying, because you couldn't see its neck.
It's so sort of majestic and I don't know, just impressive
sort of
and
Jurassic
imposing.
Park vibes.
It's very Jurassic Park, isn't it? And I mean, you may well have seen this in the trailer.
They do look amazing.
They look absolutely amazing. They're sort of kind of like a puzzle. It's a little bit like you know, like an antenna or something from another game, where you have to kind of puzzle about how to get on top of them, find the right place, follow them, see where they're going, work out their route and stuff, then traverse up them, and then override them, which is what I'm going to do here.
This is cool.
Yeah, I mean, the view is just amazing, and look at the surrounding. It's in the middle of this.
Sort of a shame about the weather, but yeah,
It was foggy. Nothing I could do about the weather. But yeah, the view is absolutely amazing. And overriding them doesn't destroy them or anything, so you can get back on top for a look around. But once you override them, which gets this really cool sort of little cutscene, and you have to jump off, which is, you know, mad but brilliant. Then you get the map. A portion of the map is revealed.
Like an overview. Oh, that's amazing. So this is number 6 is just climb a tall neck.
Yeah, you've got to climb a tall neck. I mean, there's good gameplay reasons because it reveals the area of the map that you were on.
But it's also the thing that literally everyone wanted to do as soon as they saw the trailer.
Definitely, yeah, because they're so huge and weird and impressive, and I mean that's great. And landing in the tall grass, which just looks amazing. I mean, just what is happening on the screen now is just absolutely amazing as far as I'm concerned.
I know full well that I could spend ages just being on top of that dish. You know what I mean? Just walking around.
And here you can see, like, it's revealed the whole sort of top section of this part of the map. It's showing off all kinds of things to go and find, where certain creatures are located, you know, some side quests, some place of import, and it shows some other long necks, tall necks, I mean, in the other part of the map. So the 7th thing that you have to do, Nath, we've talked about how beautiful this is. It's just use photo mode because this game just looks nuts.
I can't argue with this. I can't argue with this at all.
People would be absolutely furious if this wasn't included in the game. So of course it is. There's like, you know, there's a nice amount of
news for me though, isn't it?
There's a nice amount of you know, things to tinker with. If you want to get really into it, I love a bit of depth of field.
I do. Do you know, this is crazy though, because
Look at this time of day slider is my best thing.
And the rays are coming across the screen. Do you know, if people have seen my social media feed or follow me on PlayStation, all I do is take selfies of myself in The Witcher 3. This could be the only thing I do.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think there's going to be loads of people it's the only thing they do. I mean, and when you see stuff as mysterious as this in the background, you know, it really lends itself to having a photo and sharing, and because I think there is going to be a lot of discovery in this game, people finding things, not understanding them at first, you know, has anyone seen this kind of stuff. I think photo mode's just going to be mega cool, basically, and the time of day slider is really, really great. Although it doesn't, you know, once you go back to the game, the time of the day goes back. Just in case you thought, I can go back in time. It can always be daytime.
So they've made a very attractive game.
So there's 7 things you must do in Horizon Zero Dawn.
I will.
Just the first 7. There's so many more. There's so much I want to tell you and talk about in the game with just the short time that I had with it. I'm really excited.
More videos coming up.
We are, including some PS4 Pro 4K footage. Which is very exciting. So prepare your eyes for that. Let us know what you're excited about Horizon Zero Dawn. Please do subscribe so you don't miss anything else from the world of PlayStation, and like this video if you like this video.